Okay, let's go.
Hey guys, welcome back to the End Zone. This week we're going through our questions and kicking it off. We're starting with can the Steelers defense keep winning them games? And will their defense ironically save Matt Canada's job? Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, their offense just does not look great. Going through their stats here, they've only scored 7 touchdowns as a team through 5 games. 2 of those are defensive scores. So with 5, and they're all passing as well. No running efficiency on the ground there. Matt Canada's play calling has been called out repeatedly, and then that clip, especially with the clip coming up, going kind of viral this past weekend when Kenny Pickett audibled from what only could be perceived as a 5-yard slant or a check down, and then he looked visibly upset that they did that and then ended up scoring, and that basically won them the game. I don't think their defense is going to hold any liability for Matt Canada. There's also another video of Chris Boswell coming out and kind of bashing, talking behind Canada's back when he was like all hyped up after a win, and he's like, "This isn't your, you didn't do anything." I still think that their offense efficiency is going to kind of bite them in the ass later down the line, and I think Canada's going to get canned before the end of the season. But with that being said, their defense is going to have to step up for this kind of piss poor offense. But yeah, no, I don't think it's gonna. I don't think the defense is going to save Matt Canada at all. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah. Here, I'll add something to that. I think it's buying him time for sure. Oddly enough, they have one of the lowest offensive efficiencies in the league, but they're leading the AFC North right now. It's kind of weird, but I mean, the AFC North has a lot of questions around it. But Ryan, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Paul. It's it's that whole situation this past weekend was so weird. Like watching him in the booth, the film that came out when Pickett audibled to that Randy Moss call or whatever it was called, and George Pickens got that touchdown to win them the game. He didn't even look happy, which there's 2 things that are kind of at work there. I like to bring up that Mike McDaniel in Miami, he kind of had something in his presser about, if Tua sees something that he likes, he trusts him completely to make the right call the audible. And he said he'd rather have Tua make the calls because he's on the field. He knows the flow of the game better than what Mike does standing on the sidelines. You got to have some level of trust in your quarterback. I mean, Kenny and Tua are the same age, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, the head coach of the Dolphins is giving full reign to Tua, but your offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh is visibly, I don't want to say pissed off, but he's upset that your quarterback called into an audible that scored a touchdown and won you the game against a divisional rival. I don't know. Personally, me seeing that, it pissed me off. I think it would piss anybody off that, understands the game of football. At this point, it stands to reason that I would rather have Kenny Pickett call the game and put the game in his hands than I would let Matt Canada, do his job in a good way. Their offense is abysmal. I think George Pickens, talent-wise, could be, one of the best receivers in the league, potentially, just given off, personal athletic ability and everything. But we're not going to see it with the way that they're calling plays, these slants and these terrible run schemes. And I don't know. I don't want to put all the blame on Canada, I guess, but I think there's some serious issues there. And I mean, if he's not gone midway through the season, he definitely will be. I don't know, unless something changes, I guess. But it is weird, Brandon, that they are leading the division right now with such a low offensive efficiency. And I don't know. I think it can be said for a lot of the NFL. It's just a weird year. So we'll see what happens. But I'm not a Canada fan at all. Not the country. Love country's great. But
yeah.
Matt Canada, do better, man.
Yeah, I want to add something to your first point too about the Dolphins kind of playing a little bit of backyard ball with not necessarily backyard ball. That's more of what I'm getting to. But the Dolphins trust his quarterback, lets him run his scheme, read the field, that type of thing. The Chiefs, I mean, they've won Super Bowls with that exact formula between Pat and Kelsey. Just trust him and they'll make it happen. And he had one of the best playmakers in the league with Pat Mahomes. But nonetheless, yeah, trust your quarterback and let him make those mistakes and grow into a franchise quarterback. But with that being said, continuing on the Vikings, Justin Jefferson just going on IR now. Kirk Cousins in question. Are they going full rebuild? What do y'all think they're doing?
I think they kind of have to. They've already been fielding some trade talks or getting some calls from other teams regarding Kirk Cousins. With Jefferson going on IR, being at least 4 weeks, having no run game at all. They're very one dimensional, and their defense is not very great, not very good at this current time. So they do need a lot of pieces, especially with a quarterback heavy draft class who would, I think, thrive with the receiving core that he's going to be getting. I don't see why not, especially when you're looking at the upcoming schedule. Up next, they got the Bears, 49ers, division game against the Packers, Falcons, who have a good secondary, the Saints, the Broncos, and then they finish off with the Raiders and the Bengals, and then Lions, Packers, Lions. So they, just looking at the schedule, I think the Bears beat them. They're hot right now, and if the defense can't stop anything, obviously the 49ers, I think they're going to win. Maybe they beat the Packers, and then maybe the Broncos, and then who knows about the Raiders. But every other game besides that looks like they're going to take the loss. So they're not in the position to make the playoffs at the current time. So might as well. I think you can get a lot for Kirk Cousins. He's a damn good quarterback, and especially for a team that's like the Jets or like maybe even like the Buccaneers or some. If Baker's play digresses. I think Kirk can step into that role and lead that team, and they're going to have to give up a little bit of draft capital for that one. But I think if you're the Vikings, that's what you got to be looking for. If you can get the number 1 overall pick, or get close, get a top 10 pick, get Caleb Wilson, or get Drake May, someone like that, or Shedeur or Bo Nix, someone along those lines. I don't think Bo Nix is going to be that guy, but get that quarterback of the future, build around him, and then invest a lot in the defense and free agency. I think that's going to be their only shot at making it anywhere in this kind of tough AFC North now, or NFC North now.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's I hate it for Kirk, and because I love Kirk. It seems like said. I mean, obviously he's a good dude, and he's a hell of a football player. I mean, he's done well individually speaking, I guess, pretty much wherever he's been. And like last year, I mean, I think obviously having Justin Jefferson is any team would want to have that guy on your team. But I mean, Kirk is the guy getting him the ball. He's making the decisions. I mean, obviously he has a bad game here and there. He has that whole, prime time kind of curse deal on his name. But I mean, I think Kirk's a phenomenal quarterback. I hate that this is kind of what it's come to. If you don't have Justin Jefferson, I mean, Jordan Addison's a hell of a rookie. KJ Osborne has done well. And Hawkinson's a good tight end, but like, who's their backup? Is it Nick Mullins from Southern Miss or something like that? I think. I don't want to speak ill of the guy, but like, I don't trust him like I would Kirk Cousins. And then like, when you think about like how Madison's been performing in the run game, they have to throw the ball. I mean, unless they're going to give Madison and the committee, 45 carries a game, which their offensive line can't block well enough for them to do anything with that. And their defense is abysmal. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I mean, I don't know if it'll happen, this season where they trade Kirk and kind of start this rebuild process. It might just play out the year, see if, if they're in a spot where they win a couple of games in this stretch where Justin's out and he can come back and they can, kind of run the table. I don't think it's going to happen because I think, like you said, the Bears are hot. Detroit's one of the hottest teams across the entire league right now. Green Bay's, but who knows? Yeah, they're not in a position to win this year, which I hate. I was really big on them coming in, but I don't know. We'll see. I completely agree that the Jets should be making a play for Kirk right now. They might be, and we just haven't heard anything yet, but I don't see why not. I mean, Zach Wilson did have a good game this past week. But I mean, I think I personally would rather have Kirk Cousins back there fielding the snap than Zach Wilson. I think with the talent that's on that team, because they're not a bad team, having somebody like Kirk, a veteran, would be really good for the locker room and everything. but I don't know. We'll see.
Adding on to what you were saying, it might just be the Jets front office, honestly, because you look at the Green Bay Packers trade with Aaron Rodgers. That was rumored for months, and it took forever to actually go through. They may just be slow or maybe just apprehensive on pulling the trigger on something like that. I mean, it's not a small commitment. I mean, you're trading picks, prospects, you name it type thing.
Absolutely. And they're a young team. So that might be kind of what they're looking for is continuing to build off of the young picks that they're able to have. But I don't know. O'Connell's definitely in a hot seat. He's got a lot to figure out, and he might not have the time to figure it out to change the course of action that's might already be in place. So we'll see. I hate it for Minnesota. They can't really catch a break. So I don't know. Guess we'll find out. Not really up to us. We just report on it. So
one thing I do want to kind of pose here, Jefferson is in a contract season, so possibly trading Kirk Cousins. Who knows how Jefferson feels internally about Kirk Cousins. But if they trade him away and they show no kind of stability in the quarterback, what makes Justin Jefferson want to re-sign with the Vikings other than the money? I mean, he'll get the money either way, wherever he signs with. But I mean, if you trade away a solid, top 10 starting quarterback, and then you guys kind of uncertainty in the future, I mean, that might scare the front office away and possibly, dealing him off. But I mean, maybe if they got a contract down in the off season or while he's on IR, maybe he can sit down and kind of look at the books more. But that could be something to kind of keep your eye on in the future.
Yeah, an extreme hypothetical. I mean, would Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson be packaged together? Maybe. I mean, because think about it. If they go to the Jets, I mean, that's a huge asking price. But that offense would be scary.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think that would happen.
Yeah, I don't think it would. I think it's an extreme case.
That would be, that'd be terrifying.
Here's all the first round picks for the rest of our franchise.
Yeah.
For like the next 10 years, probably.
If you can't win with that, I don't know what you're doing then.
We'll see. I mean, Justin's definitely made Minnesota his own, and he almost single-handedly puts a team on the map, but I mean, I don't know. I hope the best for Jay Jettas, regardless of what happens.
Wrapping up that question, going on to kind of a new game we're trying this week, and it's called Pretenders and Contenders, going into week 6, starting to get an idea of our playoff picture. Ryan, I'll let you go through the teams and take it away.
Yeah. So guys, I'm just going to run through an alphabetical list of the NFL teams. So we're just going to tell me are they legit or not legit. So we'll just jump right in. Starting with Brandon's Arizona Cardinals.
They're pretenders.
I'm not going to even say they were trying to contend. I mean, they've had glimpses of hope, but maybe contenders in a couple of years from now.
They've been electric, man. I like watching the Cardinals play, but yeah, they're pretenders.
I will say their new uniforms
clean.
You were knocking them. Knocking them.
They looked bad. They looked bad on the Instagram post, but on the field, they look, those black ones and the white ones that they wore last week. Oh,
yeah.
It's not to be understated that their colors or their uniforms are very reminiscent of Ohio State, conveniently Paul sitting next to that pillow right there. Their uniforms.
Ew.
No uniform bias here.
Moving on, Atlanta.
Pretenders this year.
Yeah,
Pretenders.
I gotta say pretenders too. It's hard with that division though, it's you don't know. Somebody could get in the playoffs and any given Sunday. But I don't know.
Ritter did look good. He played probably his best game ever. So
Bijan had the dirtiest play I've ever seen.
The one
behind the back fake with a football. I've never seen that before.
And I think every team, especially if they have a dome, needs to get that over him or that overhead camera. Oh, that angle
thing's amazing.
Sweet.
Well, that's such a good angle, man.
Can I just watch the whole game like that?
Dude, it's artistic is what it is.
Yeah. It's like the ultimate viewpoint, like if you're playing Madden, just seeing everything all at once. It's beautiful.
Well, think about if you're like a high school kid or a middle school or like trying to learn football and you get to see that kind of view of technique, right? I mean, just the value of that alone is just great. I mean, you can learn from so much from a player trying to grow up and play football too.
Absolutely. I think with that viewpoint too, for any offensive and defensive lineman. It
Yeah.
paints the picture so much better than looking at it from kind of a side skewed point of view.
Yeah.
You can see the
Mhm.
pulls, the thought processes of the center, what they're calling out. As an offensive lineman, I would really like that, but
Mhm.
we don't get paid to make those decisions. Baltimore Ravens.
I think they're contenders.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's like a lukewarm contender. I'm not confident in that saying that, but
Yeah,
contender.
middle of the pack,
Mhm.
15-ish, sitting in that 17 to 15 range type of deal.
Yeah, a
Don't know
likely
what's gonna
wild
happen.
card.
Kind of similar to the NFC South statement I just made. You don't really right now. The Steelers are leading that. We're dogging on the Steelers, but they're leading the division, so we have no idea.
Yeah.
We'll see. Buffalo Bills. That's easy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Pretenders.
It was. Yeah, when they're on, they're on. This past weekend was a little weird, especially with all the Stephon stuff. But I don't know.
I might chalk that up to the London game a little bit, not to make an excuse, but Jags have been there 2 weeks and they just showed up this past week.
Yeah,
Showed up on
it's gonna be
Friday.
frustrating. Eating beans for breakfast and all that crap,
Makes you run faster, I heard. Gas.
Gas powered. Carolina Panthers. That's another easy one, but on the other opposite end.
Pretenders.
Absolutely.
Pretenders.
Sorry, guys. Last undefeated team in the league. Hate it, but it is what it is. Thielen's balling out, though.
Mm-hmm.
Love to see it. Chicago Bears. What do y'all think?
Last year they ended off pretty hot. If they can find a way to get that stride back, I don't rule them out of a wild card spot, but I'm going to say pretenders.
Okay.
Yeah, especially following up DJ Moore's
I think
explosive
there'll
week.
probably be a couple different.
I don't see them winning the division. I think the Lions are easily going to win that one, but I mean, if they stay as hot as they were last week in the past couple of weeks for in terms of offense, they could sneak into a wild card.
Yeah, I completely. It's very if this, if that, but you put together a week like you did last week. You're going to win a lot of football games, unless you're the LSU Tigers. But that's college. We're talking about pros. Cincinnati, big game this past weekend. Are they back, or what do y'all think?
Joe Shiesty is back. He looked
All
good. He
right,
had some rushing yards, thrown on the back foot, had his longest downfield pass of his career, and one of the passes to Jamar Chase. But I think they're back. I know it's kind of a slump buster game for them, but I think they're back.
Slump busters are important.
Yeah. My Cardinals were the sacrificial lamb for the Bengals. I think they're back.
Yeah, I think I hope they're back because when they're hot, they're fun to watch. I think that was just the game that they needed. I think it looks like Joe's kind of 100%. And Jamar Chase, man, he's like a 7-Eleven, open all day long. Cleveland Browns. This is a weird one.
It kind of hinges on Deshaun Watson. If he actually plays, he's going to miss this week again. If he plays, they're contenders. They're still the Cleveland Browns at the end of the day. I'll just go pretenders.
Get out them brown bags, Browns fans, pretenders all day.
Yeah, I agree.
Nick Chubb screwed him too. Not like it's his fault.
I think if Chubb was here,
I don't think it's not that he actively did his knee, maybe, but
too many squats.
Yeah, he's got to stop with the crazy squats. The Dallas Cowboys. What do y'all think?
This is.
I don't need to speak on it. I will, but I'll let y'all go first.
I'm kind of torn between two thought processes. Maybe they just played the best team in the NFL right now and got punched in the mouth and kind of got shell shocked a little bit.
That's part of it for sure.
But look who they played starting the year type thing. But I say that with the Cardinals in mind. Not to knock the Cowboys and beat a dead horse, but they lost to the Cardinals also. So I think they're borderline pretenders.
I agree with that. The only decent offense that they played was the Cardinals, and they lost to them. All the rest of the teams that they played had terrible offenses, and they're kind of coming through that. The Patriots can't do anything, Jets can't do anything, and then obviously the Giants, they're struggle busting. So I really don't see. I would say they're contenders or pretenders.
Yeah, I'm in a tough spot here because obviously I'm, for viewers, I am a Cowboys fan. I'm sure I've said that a few times, but
The jersey didn't give it away last week.
yeah, well, that was Tim. I didn't wear a jersey last week. But that was probably the most disheartening loss I've ever experienced as a Cowboys fan outside of the losses we've had in the playoffs. After this week, as we get into kind of the brunt of our schedule and we start playing a lot of these really good offenses, I mean, I almost have to agree with y'all, just because like the defense, even though they just let up 42 points, it's like I can't even find a good thing to talk about from this past weekend. Is still should be good. They just can't be on the field all the time. I need Dak Prescott to play in a way that inspires me as a fan to think that we can always win a game. And he hasn't done that once this year. He's not the reason we're winning games whatsoever. I think the offense is stalling. Pollard's doing fine, but the offensive line can't stay healthy. I think CeeDee Lamb has had more than 4 receptions in one game, and he's supposed to be one of the top receivers in the league. Dak's not doing a good job of distributing the ball. A lot of the receivers aren't doing a good job of getting open. There's a lot of issues right now. And if they don't get fixed, thank God we're in the NFC East. I guess I'll put it that way, because if we get the 2 seed and we sneak away a couple other wins, maybe we get a wild card, but it's more of the same for me as a Cowboys fan. So
In y'all's defense a little bit, I do want to add the 49ers have kind of seemed to be y'all's kryptonite in past years. For whatever reason, y'all have had a hard time getting past
they
the
have
49ers.
our number for sure.
Yeah.
And what I thought was going to happen is that we were going to win this game and then we'd play them in the playoffs and we would get the outcome of this past weekend sometime down the line when it really mattered. So maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm a little superstitious when we hopefully get to the point that we're at that point that we play them again and it's in the playoffs. Maybe we win, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I think Dak has the opportunity to prove why y'all paid him this year.
Yeah,
Bounce
and
back.
he's not doing it so far.
Yeah.
My fantasy team name is Dak Interception Counter. Went from 1 to 4 in one day. So I'll put
What
it
to
that
do,
way.
baby?
Shout out Brandon for the idea. Denver Broncos.
Pretenders.
No?
Yeah,
No,
pretenders.
I agree.
Nice and easy.
Russ is having a good season though. I don't think it's just really his fault.
No, it's the defense. They're last in damn near every stat.
Okay, but like take out the Dolphins game,
there's
and how do they shake out still?
Brees Hall had 177 yards against them last week.
Okay,
There you
that's
go.
fair. That's fair.
Numbers
Guy.
Detroit.
Contenders.
Baby.
Contender.
Love them. I
They-
freaking love Detroit.
If they stay healthy, I think they're number 2 in the NFC right now.
I'd give it to them. I'd
That
put
would
them
be
over
a
the Eagles
fun
right now.
game.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen Eagles haven't showed me a whole lot. Cowboys just kind of bumped down in my power rankings. I love what the Lions are doing.
I do too, man. Especially with Amon-Ra, Jameer both being out. The third string running back, which is not good for my fantasy team, did well.
Yeah, we're not
Dan
going to talk
Campbell.
about last week in fantasy.
So, shut up, Brandon. I love it. Amon-Ra being out and they're still able to go out there and win a nice game. Yeah, I'm all in on Detroit. I love what they're doing. Just play Jameer Gibbs, Dan Campbell.
Yeah, that could be a really good NFC playoff game. San Francisco
Absolutely.
49ers and Lions, that would be a fun game.
Who would have thought?
Yeah. So
10
quick.
years ago, go back in time and tell them.
Yeah. Green Bay staying in the NFC North.
Pretenders.
Yeah, pretenders. They have shown some bright spots though with what they've got.
I'll agree with y'all. Houston. Probably they've been interesting this year for sure.
I enjoy it. I enjoy watching them, but they're still pretenders at the moment. They just need some more pieces, but
Yeah, I agree. Kind of what I just said about the Packers, to be honest with you.
Actually, we go through 3 AFC South teams. The Colts. Same deal.
pretenders.
Yeah.
I think if Richardson could find a way to stay healthy, they'd be a little more seriously looked at. But yeah, pretenders.
It's
right
like
now.
watching Cam Newton's career in a fast track.
Yeah, in his first season.
Yeah, it's insane. I hate it for him, but shoulders just got banged up real bad. Separated AC joint, not a good start. Want him to do good, but also we kind of jumped it. But Houston, I love it. I live in Houston. It's the city's a buzz right now, especially with the Astros being in the playoffs and everything. And also, last week I said Puka would win Offensive Rookie of the Year. If Stroud keeps going, it's Stroud all day. Just wanted to change my vote from last week. Jacksonville contenders.
Yeah, contenders.
I'm gonna go pretenders. They don't look very good. They had their best game of the season, I will say, but Trevor Lawrence, his main problem was fumbles last year, and he's on track to keep fumbling the ball this many times last year. So I can't trust him.
I feel like between the ears, T-Law is very similar to Justin Fields. Once he gets locked in and rolling, he can be pretty scary, though. I mean, last year they both kind of turned up a little bit and got some good momentum going. I think once they get their kind of gears turning, they'll be scary, though. They've got good weapons on that offense and respectable defense. I mean, they stifled for the Bills for a lot of that game on Sunday.
I agree. I think they're sneaky contenders. We'll see. Depends on how the rest of the year plays out. Kansas City, always a contender if Mahomes is on the team.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't say that confidently with the receiving core in mind, but they've started to slowly kind of show some life. So check back in a couple of weeks and we'll see where we're at on them, in my opinion.
Yeah. Las Vegas,
Pretender.
Chargers.
Contender, I would say.
I think they're gonna get that wild card spot in the AFC.
Yeah.
Mike Williams going down didn't help their case. I mean, it knocked them back a little bit, but I mean, Keenan Allen's been having a great year. Eckler's coming back.
Herbert.
Quentin Johnston. We haven't seen
Stepping
him.
up.
Well, we haven't seen him too much. I actually didn't pay attention to this last week, admittedly, too much, but he's been kind of dormant. But I think he could step into that Mike Williams role pretty quick and easy.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same build for sure. So, I mean, he could definitely fill the role. Staying in Los Angeles, the Rams. I can't put a stamp on it, so I'm going to say pretenders.
Yeah,
They're not.
Go for it.
They're not going to clinch the division with the 49ers there.
Absolutely not. That's kind of my point.
I'd give them like a 40% chance of getting a wild card, but I'm doubtful on them. I'm going to say pretenders.
They're playing well. Sean McVay is that offense is humming. Especially now they got Cooper Kupp back. The Seahawks are kind of iffy. Sometimes they seem like they want to play, and then sometimes they don't. So it could be a toss up. It could be a kind of a late season, gimme for that wild card spot. But I think it's a good 50-50 for them.
Yeah.
I don't think they're out of the case.
Probably this is my favorite team in the league right now, at least to watch. Miami. I consider them contenders.
100%.
Hot contenders.
As long as the offense is humming like that, it's impossible not to. Minnesota, I think we covered that.
Yeah.
Pretenders.
Pack it up.
Yeah.
Pretenders, pack it up. Patriots, same vein. Bye-bye
man.
Belichick. I think he's gone after this year. Saints.
I can't tell with the Saints.
Yeah, it's tough. Want to root for them for sure, but it's hard. It's hard.
I'd say I still think they're, in terms of Super Bowl, I think they're pretenders.
Yeah.
I think they'll make the playoffs just defensively and
in that division.
the division is not very good. So they'll make it, but I don't think they're going to go they'll probably get bounced in the first.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Giants, pretenders. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Cowboys fan. The Jets, same.
I will shout out to the Giants. They scored their first half points this week on a pick six.
Good for them. That's awesome.
Week 5.
Oh, that's tough. The other New York team, the Jets.
As
they're not going to win the Super Bowl.
If Kirk goes, that could change everything for them. But as they currently stand, I don't think they're gonna. They may make the playoffs based on defense. being in their division, I don't see that happening unless, major fallouts from every other team. But I'd say pretenders right now, if they get Kirk or if they get a quarterback upgrade, I think it, bumps them right back up.
Yeah, pretenders with an asterisk right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The Eagles, I'd say they're still contenders.
They're still contenders.
Yeah. If they kind of find the spark that they need, I mean, the talent's still on the roster. Not much has changed from last year. Jalen Carter's playing out of his mind. So defense is humming. Offense, if they get to 4th and 1 every offensive drive, they're golden. So
yeah,
92.5% success rate.
NFC East, I'm just torn on that division right now. Who's going to win it? Eagles, Cowboys, unlikely, but the Commanders maybe in the conversation. Giants, hell no. But I'm just not confident on who clinches that division right now. And I mean, it's still early. Yeah, shaky.
Pittsburgh, same vein of what I said about Minnesota. I don't think it's going to happen unless Canada catches a boot.
Mm-hmm.
I think their defense is good, and if they can figure out the run game, maybe Canada steps back. I hate to have people just get fired. He could be a good coach, just not calling the right plays. Have someone else call plays for a little while, see how that goes. Have him do something else. But
yeah,
I'd say pretenders at the moment.
I questioned their offense last year. I started to, and Najee Harris's production went way down, or efficiency, I guess better said. Started to kind of get speculative of it. I think if he can go hands off or trust his quarterback a little bit more, let him have those growing pains and let him grow, could be something great though. I said it early on, they could find their stride late season. I still haven't ruled out that take yet.
Yeah, they're gritty. And I mean, TJ Watt's probably the best defensive player in football. So, I mean, there's a will, there's a way. Seems to be kind of a Pittsburgh motto. The contender, San Francisco 49ers. They're the best team in the NFL, in my opinion. So
100%.
Easy.
Most complete for sure. That's an easy one. Seattle.
I'm gonna say, go ahead.
They're 50-50 for me. I'm leaning towards, I want them to be a contender. They have a fun offense to watch. Defense is stepping up. I love Devon Witherspoon's a dog.
He's been playing out of his mind.
They're one of the best teams against the run, that's a big jump from last year. So I'm gonna go contender right now. I don't know how far they'll make it in the playoffs. They could get lucky and have some Geno luck again, but I'll stick with contenders right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna say lukewarm contenders right now, barring another Cinderella kind of spurt again.
Okay. Tennessee. Pretenders.
I think Derrick Henry's on his decline. They're starting to transition in Tajay Spears. They're starting to kind of look at that, and the snap count's been about the same. It's been kind of 60-40 for the past, or pretty much the entire season, but they're starting to look at getting fresh legs in there and rotating, and not quite a committee, but it's getting there.
Yeah, and transitioning from the inside run to more of the outside runs that Tajay is more built for. So we'll see. And then to wrap us up, the Commanders, that NFC East that Brandon is so iffy on.
Yeah, I'm going to say pretenders. I think there's a small chance, like a snowball's chance in hell of them making it. But I'm going to say pretenders.
If you asked me 2 weeks ago when they just took the Eagles to overtime, I would have said they're definitely contenders. But then they get boat raced by the Bears. Their defense didn't look great. They still have good pass rush. Secondary just looked absolutely. They got torched. So I'm gonna have to go pretenders right now.
Yeah, I agree. I like what Sam Howell's doing. I like the energy that they had before getting destroyed by the Bears, which was weird. But yeah, definitely pretenders.
EndZone picks of the week here. We're going to go ahead and do a 3 pick 'em here. We're on the prize pick boards. First one I kind of like here. If we go to passing, touchdowns are fun, so I like to stick with these touchdown ones. First one I'm going to go with here is Justin Fields. Justin Fields has been absolutely electric the past 2 games. They are going up against Minnesota, who is a bottom tier secondary. I think they're going to be behind in the game a little bit. So right now he's only at 1.5 touchdowns. He's hit 3 out of the 5 games this season, with 8 being the last two games. So I think this one is a clear, easy over here. Next one I like here, Tyreek Hill. Only not scored in 1 game this season, and that was a tough game against a good Buffalo defense. I don't think that he should have any trouble against Carolina. Again, another pretty poor defense in secondary at that. I think the Dolphins should be rolling in this one, and Tyreek is the main focus point in their offense. So I'll be taking over on that one. And then the last one here I like, Stephon Diggs. Again, going up against the New York Giants defense. Love to pick players who are going against bad defenses. Diggs obviously is their main receiving target in Buffalo. Only hasn't scored in 2 games this season, but he is an absolute electric player. Should be an easy one to get a touchdown in this one. So we're going to go ahead and take overs on all these ones. And if you want to go ahead and tail us, let us know. If you want to fade, have at it. But let us know how you did in the comment section below.
Well, we got through all 32 NFL teams, so round of applause for us. But yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's a wrap on this week's episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe and let us know some of your takes and some of your favorite pretenders and contenders. But with that being said, thanks from all of us.
Catch y'all later.